Welcome to the Shootin The Que podcast presented by Heath Riles BBQ with tips, tricks, and an inside look at some of the top pitmasters in the game. Now here's your host, Heath Riles.
Welcome to another episode of Shootin The Que. Today I'm joined with my wife Candace and a very special guest, Mr. Brad Leighninger from Gettin Basted. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me here.
Now, I did not chop your name up, did I there?
No, you did perfect. I hear a lot of it. That was a good one.
That's great because I'm usually chopping people's names up 100%. Well, for everyone that don't know you, can you kind of tell everybody kind of who you are?
Sure.
And kind of what you do?
Yeah, I'm from southern Missouri, southwest Missouri. I've got 5 restaurants down in the Branson area. Started doing competition barbecue in 2012. And so from the competition side of things, the restaurants grew. Our first restaurant I opened in 2017. And, man, we've just been out competing. 4-time KCBS Team of the Year, just ended up clinching that here last weekend. And just going out competition cooking, man. Still love it, still got the bug, and still do that most weekends.
Well, I know that I've cooked against you several times, and I can say we've battled it out several times and both walked away winners, but you probably walked away more of a winner than I have, especially on the KCBS side.
Yeah, KCBS, man, they down there in Memphis, maybe there's a different story, but KCBS, I think I probably got you by 1 or 2, but, man, it's been fun.
It has definitely been fun. What do you see has changed in barbecue since you started back in 2013 to now?
Well, I think it's more serious. Like, I think it's harder to win now than it's ever been. I don't think with how much it costs, I don't think you have people that get into it casually anymore. So the people that are cooking competitions week in and week out have to take it seriously because you have to bring some prize money home, right? Otherwise, it's hard to justify to your wife or whatever going out spending $2-3 grand on a weekend. You know, you can do a lot of stuff with that money. So there's nobody that's just casually cooking anymore like there used to be back when I started.
I have to 100% agree. I, for one, personally had a kind of moment for me that kind of defined my career. I got really, really wasted on a trip to Nashville one time and took 2 seconds and a third-place finish at an MBN.
Okay.
And she kind of told me, she said, look, if you're going to be doing it, because you know how much money it costs to travel to Nashville, stay downtown, hotels, you know, bar tabs, and just going out and having a good time, right? And she's like, we can do something different. You're not going to take it serious. And that was kind of the defining point for me and kind of turned me around in my career. And hell, now I have a full-time barbecue business from it. So
I think, you know, my story is similar in Nashville. Tim Grant, who I don't know if anybody knows, True Bud Barbecue, we were down in Nashville celebrating his Team of the Year, I think, in 2013, 2014. And he's the first time that looked at me. It's like, you know, what are you looking to get out of this? What are your goals in competition barbecue? And up until then, it had been, you know, hey, I'm drinking, I'm having fun with my buddies, and I'm you know, burning meat in the parking lot. And that's the first time I sat there and looked at it and was like, man, maybe this could be something more. And that's the first time I said, hey, I'm going to win Chicken Team of the Year next year. It's the first time I vocalized a goal in barbecue. And similar, it's just, you know, now that's what I do for a living and couldn't be happier. It changed my life.
Wow, you brought up Tim's name. I've not heard anybody say him in forever. And he kind of their team just kind of quit. He got up on a highlight and just said, hey, man, I'm going to do some other stuff.
He did. Yeah, and I think that's a cycle that happens to a lot of people that cook a lot. You know, it takes a lot of effort. You've done it before on the Memphis side, on KCBS, how much time and effort and money you have to put into a Team of the Year chase. And a lot of people get burnt out on it.
A lot. I mean, I've not cooked as many weekends as you because I see you burning it up. But there was a point to where I think I got up to 42 weeks one time, 41, 42. Is that right?
I don't remember.
But it was just like,
that's a lot.
Man, I'm missing birthdays. I'm missing this. I'm missing my buddy's party. Somebody's graduating. None of that. I kind of pushed it all to the side for a few years.
Yeah.
And just, I don't want to say, almost like forgot who my friends were to a point, you know, home friends and all that kind of stuff. And we're all back doing things together now and all that kind of stuff. But I pushed it away and went full barbecue. And I looked at some stats last night and I can see those years where I really focused is where I got my heart and my goals at.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. It's just different for a lot of people.
You know, if you're cooking every week, you know, you're already, you know, at the top of your game. If you're also doing it every week, and you become pretty hard to beat. And that's what I don't think a lot of people that do it casually or come in and maybe do 10 events a year. If they go up against me or you at our prime when we're pushing, it becomes really hard because we've got our systems down. We know what the judges want. We know what's hidden. We know what's not hidden. And so to step in and expect to compete against something like that's a pretty difficult thing to do. But it takes sacrifice to get there. And you do have to give up some of the things you're talking about. You are not going to be home. You are going to miss it. You're going to miss some stuff. And I'm fortunate that, my family supports me in what I do. But I also, in my job, I'm flexible enough that I can spend a lot of time with my family during the week. And so I try to go, and I fly to most of my contests now. So I'll try to fly in Friday morning, try to fly back out Saturday night, try to be gone as little as I possibly can. And that makes it so I can do a few more comps a year.
Well, I actually, that's going to bring up something else. I'm going to skip over what I was kind of going to next. You talking about flying the contest now.
Sure.
Give me a rundown of what that looks like. Do you ship your meat in? Do you go source it when you get there?
So I'll take it on the plane with me. So pork, brisket, ribs are stuff that's harder to get. You can find, so briskets for sure I want to have because they're really hard to get, something in a grocery store.
Trim it, vacuum seal it down.
Yep, trim it up, vacuum seal it down. I've got some Coleman roller coolers that I just load them up and I'll just check it on the airplane. Briskets sometimes I carry on because they're the hardest things to replace if it gets lost. And then chicken I buy when I get to the contest. And then I always just ship a box of the sauces and rubs and everything that I use. And I've got a standing order with the Kansas City barbecue store that I just repeat. And then I just pick the address of some, usually whoever's stuff I'm borrowing or the organizer of the contest or whatever it is. And my box gets shipped there and go there, cook the contest, and don't tell anybody. I hope nobody listens to this. I guess they probably will. But, somebody else got a mess to clean up after I'm done, and I fly home, and I'm ready to do it again the next week.
Well, that sounds like a smart man to me because the cleanup is the worst part of the barbecue.
It is, and I can make a mess. So
I've seen the inside of your trailer. Yours looks just like mine. I throw foil all over the counter so I can wad it up really fast and throw it away, but it's still sauce all on the wall. Yeah. And don't ask me how I got it up there. I can't tell you.
Man, we are artists.
Yeah.
We're
I mean, I'm sure you're the same way, squirting injection up the wall and all that. And, I mean, it's just part of it when you're really trying to do 100%.
Yeah.
And then there's people, like I'm going to bring Wes Garrett into this conversation. You walk in his trailer, and if there's a breadcrumb in the floor, they're getting out a vacuum and cleaning it up.
The best story this year for me in barbecue is when we were down in Cedar Park, Texas, and I was getting ready to catch a plane home that night. And I just won the contest, and I'm trying to figure out which trailer I can use to shower in so I don't have to stink up the airplane when I'm riding back. And I'm like, I wonder if I can get into Wes's trailer.
It's clean.
Oh, I know. And so I got into Wes's bathroom and got to shower in there. And
bath bombs and all.
Oh,
right?
man, I tell you what, I felt a little guilty, hosing off in Wes's shower, but I got over it, and I'm surprised he hasn't bought a new trailer, to be honest with
you. That's right.
Well, I want to back up and. How did you get into barbecue? Have you always been interested in barbecue? Did you grow up around it? Where did that start for you?
I've always cooked. I kind of grew up working in restaurants. And I was a military brat, but my family was kind of based in Missouri. Okay. So being in Missouri, you always have a barbecue background. My grandfather was a hog farmer, so we were always cooking pigs, whatever on the farm. And really competition-wise, I remember – heck, it was probably 2008, 2009, went to the American Royal, just had heard about it, just went there as a spectator, which was a cool experience. And then Pitmasters came out. I think like a lot of us had got in about that time and started watching it on the TV. So me and my brother-in-law would sit there, watch that on TV. And we had a friend that did some competitions, and we had a local one in Springfield. I think it's about a 70-team competition they used to have there. And he had to back out, and he knew we were kind of into it. And he's like, hey, do you want to take my spot? And I'm like, yeah, why not? And we didn't. I didn't even own a pit myself. You know what I mean? We had to borrow one. So we borrowed an offset cooker, and we ended up getting 3 meat calls. If I would have had any idea of the monstrosity of what KCBS chicken was, I probably could have won the contest. We ended up getting a 160 in chicken or something that kept me from winning that. But I still got, I think, 6th overall out of 70 teams and got 3 meat calls. And
then you were hooked.
Oh man, most expensive. It's turned to be a blessing. I've done pretty well for myself, but yeah, I mean, it certainly turned in. I think we did 5 or 6 more that year, and then next year I think I was up to 20.
Wow. So it went fast.
Yeah.
Did you not have a hobby before that you were involved in?
Man, I did all kinds. So I was a boater. I like to sail. Still do it every now and then when I can, but So we had fished and boated and everything else on the weekends, and we used to barbecue there, at the lake. We had a house in the Lake of the Ozarks, and I don't know, I think 2 or 3 years later, we'd sold the houses, sold the boats. My wife's sitting there going, if you don't use this thing next year, we got to get rid of it. And I was like, okay, she's like, if you don't use it 8 times, I'm like, well, I'll use it 8 times. I think I got out on the water 4 times that year. We're out busy cooking barbecue. So sold the boats and haven't looked back. And it turns out that barbecue for most people is not very profitable, but it's a hell of a lot more profitable than boating. So
there's no doubt about that, because I have owned ski boats and things myself in my younger days, and the happiest days that you buy a boat is the day that you bring it home and the day that you sell it.
That's right.
There's 2 happy days in boating. Other than that, if you own the boat, you're the one paying it, cleaning it, fueling it, worrying about everybody else's crap on the boat. If everybody's going to be there on time, or you having to go back to the dock and get them, and just it's so much crap.
You're the best boat's your buddy's boat, number one. And I remember one time I sold a boat to a guy that I worked with, and then I ended up 2 or 3 years later buying it back from him. It was the same thing. It's like, this is the happiest day of both our lives, right here. I mean, this is great.
I think now we just go rent a boat when we want it. Is the cheapest thing to do.
Oh, we don't have good experience with that either, though.
Yeah, $700-800 or whatever it is, man. You rent a boat, you don't have to worry about paying slip fees, cleaning it, maintenance, everything else. It's hard to beat. You got to rent a boat a lot of times before you pay for what it would cost to buy one.
That's exactly it. Well, you've won KCBS Team of the Year now 4 times. You've won Grand Champion at the Jack Daniels, and you've won Memphis in May. And have you won the American Royal yet?
Yeah, I got a reserve grant at the American Royal.
So is that the only contest you'd like, the Big 4?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to get, obviously, the American Royal, but yeah, out of those, man, that's the one, I want to get Memphis in May is Gettin Basted. We teamed up with Tim Shear down there, and, had a good time and love cooking with Tim. I mean, it's always fun, but now, my goal is Memphis as Gettin Basted. But between those two, that's kind of my checklist. And, we said the American Royal, and this past, a couple weeks ago, and good time. Didn't quite get a win, but did win ribs. So
I seen that. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah,
I would like to say that I would like to think that me and you are probably 2 of the most accomplished rib cooks, probably. I don't know that for a fact, but
all right, they're 2 better. I'd like to see them.
I'd like to bet on them is what I'd like to see. I don't think nobody could handle us in a rib shootout together for sure.
I'd like our odds, that's for sure.
And that's I'm going to bring up a question about that. Would you cook in a high dollar rib shootout that was a People's Choice, an MBN, a KCBS, and a Rib Association?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
That is something that I would announce with you right now. Don't know when, but I do want to put something like that together.
Oh, I think it'd be great.
And kind of almost tie like a charity side into it, but also have the 3 different contest types at the same time. And I don't know, that would be a real King of the Mountain kind of deal.
Oh, I that's what I live for, man. I mean, if you're not out competing against the best, there's no point in doing it.
And I never could understand people avoiding people at contests.
Right.
You want to talk about that a minute? Because I know you don't.
No, I mean,
you're going to get the max amount of points you can get at a contest.
And you're not cooking. Something like that shootout might be different. But when we go to KCBS contests, there's 30, 40 other teams. You're not, the odds of you going head to head against whoever it is you're scared of or whoever it is you want to avoid are slim to none. You're competing against yourself.
That's right.
Put your best product in the table. Put something that's capable of winning up in front of those judges, and then let it stand on its own. And even if you do that, heck, I've got a good batting average, and you still lose 2 out of 3 contests, you still lose, and so you're really not ever really competing head to head. I don't even look at the team list, man. I just show up and cook.
And I don't look at it either. That's what I never understood. There's always people around our area. I don't want to get into name calling, but will go avoid somebody.
Sure.
And it's just like, how are you getting any better by doing that?
Yeah,
you're not figuring out how to actually beat somebody if you're not cooking against them.
Well, and to me, the best judges and judges travel. Judges go. The best judges want to go to the best contests. So if you and me and everybody's at the same contest, the best judges are going to show up for that. And whereas you go to some contest where you're ducking it and you got a little lesser field, your judging may not be as good as you want it to be, and those are the ones you end up getting beat up in, ironically.
Yep.
And so you end up looking. You not only end up not winning the contest, you end up looking like you're ducking everybody, and you end up with a 14th place or something in Podunk. Podunk, Missouri, and there's only 25 teams there, and then what have you done?
That's right. What is your most consistent category that you've cooked over the years? Is it ribs?
It's probably ribs. I mean, pork or ribs, I would say. I've been pretty consistent at all of them, but pork, I think early on I struggled in pork in my career. I figured it out, I mean, it's been 10 years ago and won several pork team of the years, and I've won pork at it, all the majors won pork, but I've done that in ribs too, so it's hard to say. Between those two, I would say are my most solid categories.
What would you say is that determining factor of figuring pork out? Because that is a struggle for a lot of people.
I mean, I think it's a tenderness thing. I mean, I think in KCBS, I mean, the flavors have all gone very similar, and so it truly has become who's cooking the meat the best. And there's a fine line between overcooked and correctly cooked, and that'll change. And that's the hardest thing I think people know is they're quick to adjust flavors when they ought to be adjusting tenderness. Because to me, tenderness will flip more through the year than flavors will. I think the same flavors win every year, but tenderness will change.
And I don't know this about KCBS, but on MBN, tenderness I think is worth more than the flavor.
KCBS, it's not, but the two are. Obviously they dwarf appearance. Taste is still worth the most in KCBS, but it's tenderness is still. You get a couple of tenderness points off, you're going to get knocked. You're out of the game
for sure.
So what about? How did the opportunity come for you to open Gettin Basted, the restaurant? How did that come about?
So, I've got a couple of business partners that I worked with back when just out of college we worked together in restaurants. And I kind of got out. I did IT work for 20 years before I got back into it, 20 plus years. But they stayed in restaurants, and they were working in corporate restaurants forever. Then they started working in restaurants in Branson, and they were talking about getting out and open their own thing. And what they do really well is operations. They know how to run restaurants. They know how to manage people. They know how to set up a line. They know how to take a piece of food and deliver it. But what they don't know how to do is recipe develop. Yeah. What kind of food to put together. So it worked out really well.
Perfectly for you.
That we came together. That we could take my food and then we had a lot of fun where they would come up with the systems, and there's a lot of give and take. Like I'll come up with an idea, I'll be like, oh, we got to do this, and they'll be the ones that tell me the 50 reasons why we can't do it. We'll need to put, where are you going to put this on the line? What are you going to do with this? What are you going to do? And you're like, okay, all right, we won't do that. Won't do that deal. But it's a really good partnership because they're really good restaurant operators, and then I feel I'm really good at coming up with the menu items and developing and teaching our cooks how to cook those, and so that's been a really good recipe for success.
Have you gotten inspiration from not only Gettin Basted but your other restaurants? You have Naughty Catering Company, the Downing Street Poorhouse, the Side Chick in Branson, and now Mythical Witch. So out of all those, have you got any inspiration from other restaurants while traveling on the road?
Oh, yeah.
That you ate at barbecue-wise? Because we're foodies, and we are always searching out.
Didn't we eat at one of...
We had it Downing Street Poorhouse with the wings and the Reuben.
Yes.
I already remember what I had that day.
Yeah.
No, wings were killer.
Yeah, and that's probably, it's... that's a 120-year-old building. The bar's cool. I mean, the atmosphere's cool, and we're smoking some of our own meat. So that one's almost barbecue, but we're taking it and doing it a little bit different ways. And that's kind of one of the places that I get to have a lot of fun and experiment. And more traveling for me is not necessarily. I will see stuff at other barbecue restaurants or something in the United States, but more for me is my international travel. Well, I'll pull something. I was kind of like redneck fusion. Well, I'll take some flavors that I've caught somewhere like Thailand or wherever I'm traveling and figure out, okay, how can I put the Southern Missouri into this thing? And so that's the fun that I have, where I sit there and see a technique or see something while I'm traveling and then take it and kind of put the Missouri twist on it or the barbecue twist on it. So,
and that's me. I like putting twist or barbecue twist on things. We actually cooked, I don't know if you've seen this, we used gochujang.
Okay, yeah, no.
With our apple glaze. And just used that paste, mixed it up, and whipped it up. And you talking about a different kind of glaze, but with a spicy, smoky, heat.
Yeah.
It is really, really just different.
Oh, man, I use gochujang on a lot of stuff. So
try it with an apple jelly or apple glaze, get it down, in a glazed material like that.
Yeah.
And squirt it in there and whoop it up as a finisher.
Yeah.
And it was just really, really unique on that wing. Wasn't it, Beck? It was really different than any other barbecue wing that we had ever cooked on the grill. And I believe we done them on the drum.
Okay, you're stealing my thunder. So what I was going to do tomorrow. You basically, so now everybody's going to see the recipe. Like, well, you got that off the podcast. I was going to make some gochujang wings tomorrow.
Well,
we got it. It's a bit. Well, I've never tried it with the apple stuff. But
yeah, it's a lot different. It's really, really good.
So how are you able to manage your time between all the restaurants and the cooking barbecue and the family, like you said, just trying to kind of do what you said and fly and get there quick and get home? And
yeah, I mean, you got to prioritize. You know, I do it poorly is how I do it, if you ask. But I try to, you know, and I catch a lot of flack for that. I rarely stay for awards now, which, you know, what's funny is now when I was first doing it, I think it rubbed people the wrong way. Now like half the field does it. And it's just like, okay, we're just going to go. But my thing is, it's like, okay, you know, I can be home or I can sit here till 5 o'clock and you know, sure, you know, it's nice.
Award's going to drag out 2 hours. It's going to be 7 before I get out of here.
Depends on the
I'm done turning in
sure.
at 2 o'clock and cleaning up, throwing cans in a trailer.
Yep, get out of there. So, but as far as the restaurants go, I mean, I've got good people. And you know, my schedule usually is early in the week. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you know, one day, Thursday, one day I'm there trimming meat while I'm at the restaurant, you know, going through all that stuff. You know, I'm kind of at the restaurants and I don't ever have to work shifts. Like I'm not there. You know, all I'm doing there is quality control, you know, walking around, making sure everybody's doing their job, just looking at stuff, right? So it's not like if I don't show up one day, the place is going to be just fine. Like they're going to be just fine. And you know, then I'm home usually, you know, I'll get there early and I'm able to get home and pick up the kids from school, you know, 2:30 or 3 is what I usually do, and then hang out with them then. And then Friday, Saturday, I'm at the comps, and then Sunday I spend with family. And just wash, rinse, repeat. That's pretty much how it goes. Sometimes you may be gone a little bit longer depending on the comp if you're at a double or whatever. But that's generally my week is kind of mornings at the restaurants, evenings with the family, and then Friday, Saturday at comps.
So I've got to ask a question here. A lot of people's not going to know this. Your little girl actually cooks too. Yeah. And she was on Food Network not long ago, right? Was that back last year?
No, so she was on MasterChef Junior. It was before COVID. And so she's 17 now. So she was on it when she was 12.
God,
so
it don't seem like she should be 17 now.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. So it not at all. I think she was younger than that. She was 8. She was 10 when she was on it. So this would have been 2018 when she was on the show. So it was with Gordon Ramsay, MasterChef Junior.
So she's still cooking?
Oh yeah, she still loves it, and she's looking at colleges now, and she wants to get a business degree and kind of get into the businesses. Start looking, you know. And that's what I told her. She's thinking of culinary. I said, no, you already know how to cook. We can teach you how to cook. What you need to do when you run a small business. That's right. You need to know how to run a small business. That's where most restaurants fail, is the business side of things, not the food or the culinary side. And so that's her plan right now. Now she's 17. That could change, and if it does, that's great. But she's planning on, you know, hopefully taking over. Then I can even more retire. More comps in the future.
More comps in the future.
Wow. Well, you've had TV appearances too, not just her. So you've been on Guy Fieri. I never say his name right, I feel like, but Grocery Games with him.
Yeah, I did Guys Grocery Games. We just did Barbecue Brawl here this last year. Done just a couple of, you know, Barbecue USA with Michael Simon. We were on that, on a few episodes of that. And just a couple stuff here and there. But, yeah, it's been fun. I mean, been blessed for sure. Barbecue's been.
Which celebrity chef was the best to work with in your opinion?
I mean, Michael Simon is really down to earth.
That's what I have not met him, but it seems that he is very down to earth. A lot of like videos that I've seen of, not professional videos, but I guess like that barbecuers like us filmed that I've seen out on social media. He just seems like a very down to earth person.
He is, and he'll sit there with the cameras off, and not that all of them are, and a lot of them are nice.
Oh, of course.
He'll just sit there and just, you know, shoot it with you off the camera, just like your, you know, normal guy. I remember we were down in Daytona. We took him to an Outback steakhouse, fed him his first bloomin' onion. I've got that on video. You could tell that was the high water mark of his culinary career. And
man, a bloomin' onion is, you know, they are good. They're not good for you, but I'm an onion eater.
It is. And I thought it was cool what he did on the Barbecue USA episode when he came out. You know, he teamed up with Joe Pierce and threw his name in the hat. You know, there's not a lot of those guys have a lot to lose.
Yeah.
And going out there and actually cooking a comp. You know, he went around and he followed everybody around on Barbecue USA, and then he threw his hat in the ring and cooked a comp. And I thought, you know, that's a pretty cool thing to do. But I can tell you the best one that I've seen was, I mean, Bobby Flay's unbelievable as a chef. when we were on that barbecue brawl, he'd take something and just throw it. He wouldn't even be paying attention. It'd take him 10 minutes to do it, and he'd have a full composed dish put together, and you don't even know how the hell it happened, man. It was just unbelievable to watch him work. He's unbelievable talent, but Michael Simon's just kind of a guy you're going to have a beer with.
I've heard that about Michael Simon. I've actually, I met him when he come to Memphis in May down cooking with Joe and all them and y'all and everything down. Because Joe was down there cooking with y'all too one year, right?
Yeah. So Joe and so they were filming us. Tim and I, and they were filming Michael and Joe, and that was kind of the battle. And so we were there, and I think Luke, a couple other people down there with
that's right,
Michael Simon's team, and of course we beat him. Nobody's keeping score.
Y'all did.
You probably won the contest.
Y'all finaled hog.
We finaled hog. Yeah.
Now, is that the year y'all won it?
No. So we won it the year before, which they were filming there.
Third place, right?
Yeah, we ended up third. Yeah, in hog. So, which was, for us, we were coming off winning shoulder and winning hog in the Grand Championship, and then third hog was like the most disappointing day of our life. We didn't realize.
Well, man, I'm gonna tell you that third place is a stabber, and I don't have very many of them, knock on wood, of a third placer. But that's the worst. To me, I hate worst trophy. I don't want to call it like that and say it like I'm being negative, but you probably feel the same way. When they're paying top 3 spots, you just don't want that third spot.
Well, you've already had the emotional win of being in the top 3. So it's a reset. It's a contest reset. Now it's a 3-person contest.
That's exactly
And
right.
so you had that emotional high of the fact that you finaled. So you're in the top 3. So you already had your win there, right? Mm-hmm. Now, if you didn't know that, if it was just, we're going to announce the top 10 out of all the teams that are there and you get third, it'd be a completely different feeling. But in essence, when they call it on the stage and you're third, you lost. You got last place. Yep. And so it is. It's
like one of those knives.
Tough call. And second place is tough too because
I agree.
I mean, anything but winning once you're in that final, because second place is tough too. There's only 2 of you left, and you're just like, you just don't want to hear your name at that point.
Well, when they call the second place,
I feel like it's almost worse.
It gets lost in the mix because the first place team goes
it goes nuts.
True.
Yeah, it goes nuts.
Yeah.
But if you're second, you were so close usually. I feel like that stings a little more even. Sometimes.
I'm over here getting tense talking about it.
When you get me too. I'm over here getting.
I mean, seriously, it does that when you're in a competitive spirit.
And people that haven't cooked, and you cooked Memphis, MBN forever, but people that haven't cooked Memphis May, it is the most emotional day that you can have. Like in KCBS, we turn all our stuff in, man, we load everything up, and then we go find out one time, right?
Yeah, you don't know anything.
Win or lose, we drive home, we're mad, whatever. Man, Memphis, you're sitting around waiting already, and you're listening to, like, for an hour and a half, you're listening to every dang golf cart that's driving anywhere.
Looking.
The whole time, just waiting.
Yeah, you're outside the tent. Look, y'all seen them yet?
Hearing a cheers, wondering where's that coming from.
Was that for hog? Was that for rib? You don't know who it is.
And then if y'all are like us, you're sending somebody to go see. Well, go see who it was.
Yeah, I mean,
And
then if you final, then you got, there's the high, but then you got to clamp it down real quick.
How many minutes do we got?
Yeah, you don't have to.
How many minutes do we got? Because depending on what category it is, you're always going to have somewhere between an hour to an hour and a half, and that's it.
That's it.
And when it gets time for finals, that's crucial. You need every bit of that time. Everybody can tell you thank you and high five you later. Hell, I got to worry about hog. I got to worry about ribs. Is glaze made? Is sauce made? We got enough of this? We got enough of that?
Yeah.
I mean, get the table out. Look, set it for 4 people. It's
yeah, and you take that high, and you got to get back to work immediately.
Yeah.
And then you get there, and then you got to go do it all again, sit through the award ceremony. So it is a full on.
That's
emotional.
a long one.
It's an emotional ringer to do.
Well,
that
for
contest.
us, we were first, right, out of the gate on ribs. And so we had 45 minutes to prepare.
Maybe.
I
Yeah,
think.
we
So this last year, you're the first. So you're
45
you were the first one. So you end up winning the contest. You're the first thing the judges had.
And
to me, that's impressive.
Well, to me, I like either going first or last.
Sure.
Right? So I used to triple final a lot when I cooked hog, shoulder, rib, right? And to me, if you could hog used to be first, right? So if you didn't get that first hog pull, you wasn't going to beat me in hog.
Right.
It's very hard. And it's that way a lot in rib, too, or shoulder. If you get that first one, it's hard to go back.
If you set the bar.
If you set the bar high,
and you
that
set
day,
the bar that high, then they're going to compare every
entry to you that comes.
Everything you do at your table, they're going to compare it to.
Yeah.
And I did. There was one lady though this year that was a finals judge. She had the most poker face, man.
She wouldn't let you in.
She would not let me in. I'm talking about bad, more than I've ever seen, and I've been judged by a lot of people. And for a lady, it was really, really bad. Like her face, I was like, she hates this shit. Yeah. That's all I was telling myself, is she hates it. Because I seen her in other sites, you see pictures later on, right?
She's having time of her life.
And she's smiling. And I'm like, of course, all that, I've not told anyone that. But I'm going through the contest the whole time. Why is she smiling at everybody else's pictures and not mine?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She never smiled at the table we were at.
Huh.
I mean, and so dealing with all that in your head, man, it's a huge head game.
It'll suck the air out of the room, too. You get a judge that doesn't have any energy or you feel like you don't like, man. I mean, you're trying to provide all the energy. Where you got back and forth, you got something, it flows. But if you're the only one providing energy, it's really hard to keep it up and provide it. And you get judges that are like that.
It's hard to talk 12 minutes straight without getting a response back.
It's extremely hard, but you got to keep it through because you don't know. You never know.
No. Now, have y'all ever had a vegetarian there by chance?
I bet you, I'm bad. We never did, no. But
yeah, we've had a vegetarian before. Judged us on whole hog one time and put the loin in their mouth. I've talked about this before, and gummed it and then put it back on the plate.
Okay.
Sucked the juice out of the tubes of the shoulder.
They know the juice is still.
That's it. Dip it in barbecue sauce, lick the barbecue sauce, put it back on his plate, and we got his 10 that day.
As long as it's not a solid, it's okay. I guess is the way we've got that. We can get the juice. You should have pureed them some.
Well, that judge don't judge Memphis in May no more.
I was gonna say, I think they've tried to.
They've weeded out those. They get reported real quick.
And nothing against somebody that is a vegetarian, but you shouldn't be judging a meat contest if you don't want to eat meat.
Right.
At the end of the day, that's not fair to the people that are participating.
Right. We look for we're spending a lot of money. We're looking for judges that are
going to fairly judge
enjoy themselves and that are going to give you a fair job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Vegetarian. Well, you hear about that in KCBS every now and then, especially at the Jack or something like that, where they bring a lot of influencers in that aren't necessarily.
I could see that.
Shouldn't be judging.
So give us your thoughts. I was going to ask you, what are some of the behind the scenes like talks or like some of the things you just brought up about the Jack bringing in celebrities? What are some of the things that you wish could be changed in barbecue, or do you wish of any changes if you could wave a wand, right?
I mean,
you've cooked long enough now to figure out the kinks. So that's the reason I'm asking.
Yeah. I do think, our biggest contests, and we've talked about, and I don't even think the Memphis and May necessarily falls into this, but in KCBS, when you're looking at the Jack, you're looking at the Royal, even looking at Houston Livestock and Rodeo, which is in Texas sanctioning body, we have our worst judging. And so your career is defined by your moments at the events that have the worst judging, that really take a ton of luck to win. I mean, winning the American Royal, winning the Jack, winning any of those contests. Like at the Jack, there's 100 teams that can win it, right? Or there's 90 teams that are there, probably 70 of them can win it.
Yeah.
The judging suspect, you've got to have, not only you have to cook great food, and anybody that's won the Jack has cooked great food, make no mistake, but you've also had it line up where you've landed on those tables that you need to land on. And so if there was one thing, I don't know why we would not bring in our best judges to judge our biggest events. Why wouldn't the Jack be an opportunity also to reward judges that we know are good? And I define good differently. I think barbecue right now is overscored, very highly overscored, especially in KCBS. So I'm not looking at high-scoring judges, but just people that take it seriously.
Well, MBN, it's always overscored.
Yeah.
You have to give a 10 that day.
Yeah.
And we've been in certain instances where nothing deserved a 10 that day, but something had to get a 10.
Something's got to. Yeah.
That's the way their rules read. Something has to be ranked, and they just want them ranked down from 10 to down.
Right.
So they can get their first to whatever places. And that is respectable. Let's say and somebody had the best barbecue that day out of everybody else.
Right.
So you can look at it like it was the best barbecue you ever had, or they look at it as just the best barbecue you had that day.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Comparative judging, which is, it's a good thing, which KCBS is not supposed to. And you'll end up with, we'll have, 700s our, prestigious score or whatever, and you'll end up with, 8, 9, 10 700s. And it's really hard. There's a hard stop at the top. There's not a hard stop at the bottom. And so it's really hard when everybody's saying, okay, good is a 9, which is your highest score. Great's a 9, which is your highest score. It's really hard to separate when scores are as high as they are. So I'd like to figure out a way, think back to the question of, how do we get judging reset where it's not as high and it's a little bit easier to separate. You know, do we go with 2 partial points like a Memphis and May does a little bit? Do we, instead of having 7, 8, 9s, do we do a half-point scale or be able to let them assign some different numbers? So I think there's some things that can be done on that end.
That 2-point decimal has really helped a lot at Memphis and May. You do get a tie every once in a while now.
Right.
But back before, when the way it added up, it was 1,080 was a perfect score. There was a lot of ties.
Right.
Like we've seen it to where the 4th place would lose by a coin toss and he'd have a perfect score too.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's not fair. And then back when they got to doing that, that's when they said, hey, we need to put, you know, add another decimal behind here and make it to where you've got to score 2 more behind it.
Yeah, and you'll still see it in the ancillaries a lot where there's those, you know, 1,080s go.
Was it
down
13
a long place.
180s at the Jack this year in dessert?
Oh yeah, and then
I think
Royal.
it
I
was
think
13.
there's 28 this year in the Royal or something ridiculous number.
Yeah.
in
Wow.
dessert. Like they didn't even call that many. They called it the top 15. So you lost a tiebreaker. Was the difference between here and your name?
That was just
versus
another
coming through
table
there.
that you won that just didn't get in the mix over here to win, you know, in a coin toss.
Yeah, and I think perfects they had 7. So you not only did you had the highest score you can possibly get, and it's just 7th place to 1, the money, everything else was just purely how the coin flip turned out.
Why do you think people or judges in general have gotten to where they're scoring much higher?
Well, I think it's what most cooks, not necessarily you and I, but we as cooks are asking for. I think a lot of people are looking to get rid of those lower scoring judges. I think there's a lot of emphasis on how much money we spend in the judges' tent. There's a lot of pressure on the judges to inflate the scores. I think a lot of times it's natural. You don't want the attention focused on you by scoring lower. So what's the easier thing to do? Okay, I'll just score higher, give them what they want. So I think, they had the J Cup, which is the judge certification, continuing education program, and I think a lot of that emphasizes, okay, let's get these scores. And I think what it's done is it's just brought everybody up and brought all the scores up. And I think it's just you'll have organizers that know they won't bring in a judge that's not a high scoring judge because they know that's the product that their teams want. And I think that's just a culmination of a few years of us asking for it, and we're finally getting what we asked for.
So with KCBS like it is and NBN like it is, you've cooked a lot or several of the IBCA contests too, correct?
Yeah, CBA and IBCA before too. Yeah,
and CBA, hadn't you cooked a few of the CBA?
I've cooked CBAs as well. Yeah.
How do you like those being judged more like by people or random people off the street?
I like certified judging. The random people off the street's great. The problem with it is, and they ended up having to adjust their scoring system. So there's a 7. Their lowest score you can get in CBA is a 7. Because you get some people off the street that were giving out 3s or 4s or whatever. They're just not having a standard, to me, would get super frustrating. And you can look at the results of CBA, like somebody like Bill Purvis or LC, and they'll win a contest and then they'll get 37th the next week. And they cook a ton of contests down there.
Both of them are really consistent.
And they're really great cooks. But there's no consistent, and there's no right or wrong answer, right? Like okay, you get a group of people that didn't like your barbecue, and that's fine. They wanted something different. But not having a standard to shoot for makes it really hard to hit that standard. But what they're doing is they're just trying to average it and say most people are going to like this. But to me, it'd be incredibly frustrating to win one week and then just get wiped off the planet the next week and then come back. And, I like certified
I like being
judges.
consistent myself.
Me too. And that's how you judge it. I'm sure you're the same way. It's like, okay, if I'm in the top 5, I know I had a chance to win. It's probably just tables judging. So I'm just looking, what am I doing? I'm looking to get in the top 5. I'm looking to go out and put it in the best food I can that's going to get me in the top 5. And that's going to allow me to win on the day when the stars align and I land on the right tables if I'm putting in consistent top 5s. And without having that benchmark, man, I don't know how those guys do it, to be honest with you.
I don't either. I really don't. And have you cooked any of the Rib Association
I
contests?
did. I cooked they've had a teamed up with KCBS events where they'll have like the rib burn on Friday, and it's a little bit different there too. Like they're kind of mixing SCA kind of scoring in with ribs, and I think you're more of a Texas style overcooked rib when you're doing it. And I got a couple calls. I did 2 of them up in Wisconsin. Got a couple of 5th, 6th place calls, and it seemed to be it's funny because one of them I turned in the exact same ribs 3 times, and I got, I think I won the KCBS portion, and then I've got, progressively worse, as it went on.
Went down.
Yeah. So you're like, oh, it's the same ribs, but hey, whatever.
And they say they're not supposed to score it for appearance until it hits their judging plate. So in the box, it don't matter.
Right.
They don't look at it. And I didn't know that. I finally walked. There was a rib contest here this past weekend, and I walked there. We had to carry somebody some butter bass. Somebody called on Friday, and I was like, yeah, man, we'll run it up there, no problem. She was out of town. So I went up there and walked around, but they want you to take that rib out and, score it on the plate when you get you 6 on there or whatever. Okay, so that's different. That's cool. You're not having to worry about arranging it in the box or something falls over or something like that, right? But then, like you said, if it falls off the bone, they're still instructed to judge it.
Yeah, and I think that's probably how, they're getting judging off the street there too, I think you're probably better going closer to falling off the bone than you would be to a standard that we're used to.
Yeah, of a good bite.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like the general population thinks falling off the bone rib is the way it's supposed to be.
Right.
There's no.
And in all of our minds, it's not. But for somebody who has no actual competition barbecue knowledge in their mind, that's a perfect rib.
And to play devil's advocate on that, like I know about you, but I mean, I cooked really marbled ribs. And you got to take them to get them rendered out and get all that fat rendered out and everything. You got to take them to the ragged edge of tenderness of our standards to make them taste right. Otherwise, the
bone's going to be popped out of the back anyway and draw back up.
That's right. That's like and so when I get hit, I'll get hit in tenderness and I'll look at it and be like, oh, that's a good judge. He knew it. You know what I mean? But to me, they just don't taste right if they're not on that edge of tenderness. Because I there's something about when you get that fat rendered out in those marbled ribs that make them just taste fantastic. But they're probably technically overcooked.
Well, and you're just like me. You can look at that scorecard and go, I knew if I had a good rib in the box, the judge ain't got to tell me. Right. I done cooked enough slabs to know it's really good or really not. And if their tenderness coincides with it and all that, I don't even look so much at the flavor anymore. Yeah. I'm like, okay, they scored me fair. I just, it is what it is.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think, you people that are cooking or haven't cooked a lot, and that's one thing through repetition and experience, now when you've done your job. Like, I don't need the judges to tell me, I know when I've done my job. And, a lot of times it'll line up that way. The judges do a good job for the most part, in my mind. I mean, I'd like to win every single one of them. But, usually if I do well, I'm going to hit I'm going to do pretty well. If I don't, I don't,
That's right.
It lines up.
That's right.
Do you still eat the food you cook?
Oh, man, I mean, I'll.
You
I
like
just have to ask.
Yeah. It's like wine tasting, yeah. We got a little spit bucket over there.
I just want to know.
You like me, you probably eat the chicken, and you might eat the rib, but then when it comes to pork, you're probably going to take a little bite of money muscle, and it's probably going in the garbage, and so is the bite of pulled if you taste it or the bacon. And then the brisket, you're probably going to take a small bite, but go, man, it's good. I don't want this, and throw it in the garbage too.
100%.
Or spit it out.
And I'll take a bite of rib, and I'll bite every rack of ribs. I still do bite every rack of ribs, even though a lot of times you can tell from the pulp, but you can't tell the flavor. And chicken, I'll take a bite out of each one from each pan. And then pork, I still do bite each stinking money muscle I do. You know what I mean?
Ain't never tell about a money muscle.
Yeah.
All of them always turn out different.
They are. It's amazing.
So how many are you cooking collars now?
I'm cooking collars now, yeah.
And are you 3?
3 collars?
Is that what you cook?
I cook 6.
6?
Yeah, I loaded up. I give them a full box, man. And it's funny because it is an advantage. I got a restaurant. I got infinite.
Well,
pork,
I figured you were sorting
your
pork. When I say that, though, you're probably cooking straight for money muscles. You're not leaving. Are you leaving a lot of them?
I'll leave a little bit on there, man. Maybe like an inch and a half. I'm trimming them myself. I'm not buying collars. I'm trimming them myself, and I'll leave 2 inches, say, on the back end side.
Get a few tubes out of it if you want.
They're there if I want to. A little bit of bacon's on the bottom if I want it. But lately, I went for years turning in bacon every contest.
I know you did. You're straight money muscle now, right?
I'm straight money muscle because it's just one of those things that's not paying off for you now to put anything else in the box.
You just money muscle and straight chunking the other money muscle?
Chunks of money muscle and money muscle. Yeah, that's exactly right. And heck, every now and then you can get one that's overcooked. If you like putting some pulled in the box for a contest, pull a money muscle. You're ready to go. So.
And brisket, I'm assuming you don't cook the point anymore.
I don't. I'm just flats only.
I changed away from that years ago too, and I got away from it.
There's no, maybe the big contests like, okay, American Royal, something like that, cooking a point, putting burn ends in, might pay
if
off.
they turn out good.
But really, at the most of the contests we do, that you're just far more likely to get punished for putting more options in a box than just putting what's good in the box. Now, that being said, I give a full box. So I like to give, if I'm going to do money muscle, I'm not just putting one little row of 6 pieces of money muscle. I try to fill it up with good money muscle. But I'm not trying to give them multiple options to compete against myself anymore. I think that's something that's changed. I think, COVID came along and we got kind of a turnover in judges. And I think that some of the older school judges expected more meat in the box as far as different kinds. And I think the newer judges we have are more the ones that are kind of judging by the way they should, which is, as it's presented, we're judging you, and we're not going to judge you down for something that's not there.
Yeah. I have to ask this: because I know you change sometimes, you do thighs or legs the majority of the time?
I've been doing legs for pretty much exclusively for probably the last 3 years, and I did there for a while. I did thighs forever.
I remember when y'all used to make fun of me for doing legs.
I'm a convert now, man. I mean, it's
easy to trim, man.
It takes me 10 minutes, and flying into the contest, man, I just go and buy whatever. Just go buy chicken legs. And come in there, it takes me 10 minutes to trim them. I'm about getting tendons. I see some people doing
I don't do none of that either.
Man, they blow out themselves in the back, and I'll just come in there and snip that tendon out of the back and then turn that side down and then let it roll. And I think there's more, appearance is more forgiving on a leg. They're expecting the legs to be uglier than the thighs need to be a little bit more perfect to get that 9, whereas a box of legs, man, just fill it up and
100%.
And they're going to look good. So
man,
I haven't noticed. As long as
people started the whole circular leg thing.
Yeah,
I don't know who started that really, but it looks pretty the way they do it. And I would have never thought, like I've seen some people's jack boxes, how they had the wings laid up in between them like that all the way around and all that. It was really, really slick how they do it. And then I see some people's just cooking wing flats now. Yeah. Like Smitty will only turn in wing flats now, right?
It's funny. So we were at a contest in, I guess this would have been 2020, right before COVID, and they were short a team to be a qualifier. And so Smitty was there and Kelly Wirtz, and they're all talking. They're like, my wife was out there and she's like, well, Sarah, why don't you cook? I didn't want her to do it because I wanted to help. I said, well, we got everything. We'll have
you
her
do
cook.
This category, you do this, you do this.
No. So she did them all. She had one of the Davy Crockett Green Mountain Grill Davy Crockett's and one Gateway drum they gave her. Kelly had a point, brisket point they gave her, and we went to Walmart, bought chicken wings. Bought her a couple of pork butts and bought her ribs. Well, she ended up 180 chicken with that spiral chicken
wings?
Flats. And I know people have turned in wings before, but I think that is the kind of the origin of that. And then Smitty's taken that thing and run with it completely.
Yeah, that's all he's cooking exclusively now, right?
Yeah, and he got 2 calls at the Royal, with chicken wing flats. And it's one of those things, though, if you look at your scores and if you look at his scores, I think you can still get punished for it. I think you can run into the right group of judges that are, I look at barbecue and chicken, especially like golf. Like I want to get in there. I want to get my par. If you don't get a 175 in chicken, you're really hurting yourself. And so I would rather get my 175 and get off than sit there and shoot for a 180 and have the chance to get a 165. Because if you get in the 160s in chicken, you've dug yourself a big hole. So I just kind of want to get off the first hole, get in there, and then go to my big meets where you can make some points, if that makes any sense. So that to me, that's the risk of the wings. The wing flats is, you got a good chance probably to 180 that thing, but you also got a good chance to 160 it, and you can't afford that at a contest. So if you're trying to win chicken, that was your whole goal, was just to win chicken team of the year, something like that, turn in the wing box. But if you're trying to win the contest, go with the thighs or the legs.
Wow. Well, you heard it here, folks. Right from Brad.
Now Smitty's going to win Vegas. I hope he does. I hope he does win Vegas this weekend.
Well,
the wing box.
Yeah, I forgot. You didn't want to go to Vegas this weekend?
So we're going. I did. So I won it last year, and it was the first week in December. And my whole thing, I told my family, I'm like, I'm going to gear up. I'm going to do a team of the year run this year, like that. I'm going to do it. It's over. In November, it's over, and we'll go on a vacation once it's done. So I booked a vacation before I even started chasing points this year to go Thanksgiving. We're going to Mexico. And so we're leaving on Saturday to go to Mexico. So I was looking, and then Christy moved the contest to this Saturday. She's like, and I have a free entry and everything. And I'm trying to look at, can I fly from Vegas down there and
send them on a day in advance.
It's at the end of the day, I decided for family harmony over going to Las Vegas.
And what have you got left to prove, Brad?
I can only go down. The way I look at it, I just I won the thing last year. Let somebody else go and win it. I don't need to, there's nothing to prove. But look, anytime you can cook in Vegas, it's a lot of fun, right? And there's 100 teams out there. There's a lot of good people out there.
I miss the World Food there.
Yeah.
You was there at World Food and have all the barbecue people in Vegas, downtown Fremont, and seeing people at dinner and just going places and all the things going on. We had a blast at Las Vegas. We went 2 years in a row, spent entirely too much money. I can remember stepping off the plane and watching people lose $20,000.
Yeah.
I was with some rollers at the time. I mean,
You say it was a Blaine? Is that who you're the Blaine hunter?
No.
He didn't have it, but he was losing it.
I wasn't a Blaine hunter, no. I mean, but I think I lost about $3,000, but I got it back before we left. But I I was on a card table, and then I got on a baccarat table later, and I used to like to play baccarat.
That's when we decided that 8 days is too long in Vegas.
8 days is way too long.
Yeah,
Way too long.
Yeah, you're about 2 or 3. You're about
2 or 3. You really need it. It's like the movie Hangover. You get in and you get out.
Yeah, 8 days.
Okay, I fell out of a tub.
Okay,
I was lathered up in a lot of soap. You remember that? Cut my damn leg. I mean, we had a really good time in Las Vegas.
We were in Vegas this year for something totally different, but I thought we were not going to survive the plane ride out of there. So I don't care if I ever go back.
It was
the worst plane ride I've ever had in my entire life.
It was rough
it was bad.
Coming out of Vegas into Salt Lake, they had to set back down.
Oh, it was
When
bad.
we left Vegas, the wind was bad. Was it 2 or 3 people that had to be hospitalized?
3 had to
They had them
needed
waiting
medical
medics
attention at the gate. Yeah, it was awful. I've never experienced anything
Barf
like that.
bags time.
Oh, I bet, man. So I got people hitting the ceiling.
I just put in my earphones back out and turned on a movie before we even
was-
took off. I didn't
know
know
I
what was going
white
on. I'm a
and
little bumpy,
sweating,
but
and I was thinking my daughter is not going to have a mother. I mean, it was horrible.
Oh, that does sound bad.
have you been on one when it failed before?
What it fell? Oh, yeah. I've been on those before. Yeah.
And that was her first experience of one falling like maybe 6 foot, and catching
Well, repeatedly.
Yeah.
It was bad.
It's not fun at all. Yeah, they the Vegas side. I'm going to try to make it there next year. She does a good job. And there's rumors of another big one that might be coming to Vegas in the next year to 18 months. So
Well, I'm going to ask a debatable question before we end it there. Not debatable. I want your opinion on something.
okay.
And I'm going to include you in the mix, even though you're probably not even going to. Name another 4 or 5 cooks that you would consider top tier this day and time.
Well, I mean, obviously, I think I'd throw you in there. Memphis made champion coming off there.
I'm not there with some of the other people that's out there, though.
I wouldn't want to cook baby backs against you. I can tell you that right now.
Oh, well.
Joe Pierce, I think, is definitely one of the ones up there. I've got a kind of on the spot here. Let's see. My man, Tim Shear, I think, is definitely one of them, man. He's got, he's a hell of a cook and
He is.
can do anything. So they're going through. Trying to think of my Mount Rushmore.
I was going to say, you're Mount Rushmore barbecue.
There's so many good cooks that I'm going through them, and not all of them are active now. I've always, guys that you wanted, people that you thought had a really good chance to win when you pulled in. Somebody like Travis Clark was always one of those. Even though he's not cooking now, I don't know that he falls in that.
But definitely at one time, if he pulled up, he
was going to win the contest.
like
Tim
Donnie
Grant,
Bray.
we talked about.
Yeah,
Tim.
Donnie
Donnie
Bray.
Bray. All those people.
We talked about Tim Grant. He was a guy that, there forever. He'd whoop up on everybody.
I'm pretty sure my True Bud sticker that I've never used is in my desk right there.
Yeah.
I vowed, I keep saying I'm going to put my collection of barbecue stickers on a cooler, and I never have.
And
I still have the True Bud barbecue sticker.
That'd be a good one to put there. But, now there's a lot of, and there's so many good teams that are cooking now. And it seems like some of the big names, like the people that were just like, oh my gosh, and maybe it's my stature that's changed or whatever, but it just seems like some of the people that you were looking at and you're like, oh my gosh, these guys are going to kill me, aren't there. So maybe there's a lot more good teams, but not as many great teams.
I agree. Back in the day, there were so many teams that don't cook anymore.
Yeah.
Just unbelievable. Like, look at Johnny Trigg.
Yeah.
Old school as they come, but he had a chance anywhere he went, he might win the contest.
Yeah.
Because he was a solid cook.
Yeah.
And, I wouldn't want to cook against him still. I know he's still a good cook.
Yeah, I think guys now, you got to put Jordan on that list, man.
100%. Jordan come out of left field really strong because he didn't start cooking in what year?
He's been cooking 4 or 5 years is all he's been cooking, I think.
But that goes back to a consistency thing. When you're running 35, 40 contests and you get on a regiment and you don't change that regiment, you're bound to get consistent week in, week out instead of cooking 5 to 10 contests a year.
Yeah, no, and it 100% that's what it is. It's just putting the time in, and that's what everybody says. How do you teach a class? Well, I can teach you a class. I can tell you what I do, and I can tell you what I do on the internet, what you can do. But look, if you're not putting in the repetitions, it doesn't matter. You can't cheat the repetitions, and you've got to go out, you've got to cook, and I always tell everybody, you've got to cook 50, 60, 70 contests before you know if you're going to be any good at this thing or not. You know, you get people that are out there cooking 5-6 contests a year and getting frustrated. It's like, you just haven't cooked enough. You don't even know. You have no idea.
They're just having fun as a hobby weekend.
Right. Exactly.
So that's it. Wow. Well, do you have any more questions for Brad?
I don't.
Well, I just have one final question. If you had to do it all over again in barbecue, would you take your journey any differently?
Oh, I don't think so. I've been very blessed, man. I can't think of anybody that's had it, you know, more of a dream run than I have from barbecue, or has been given more because of barbecue. Very blessed, and I mean, it's you know, not hyperbole to say that it's completely changed the trajectory of my life, my family's life. I don't even know what my life would look like without barbecue right now. So it's really hard to say I'd make any changes or do anything differently, because I can't think of a better outcome that I could have had.
Well, I kind of have to agree on my side with what you just said. I don't think I could see myself a life without barbecue at this point. I don't know what I would be. Yeah. Really, I can't see myself doing anything else.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I mean, and you know, and we're out there for people that chase it. You know, people are what. I mean, it is possible. I mean, it take, you know, hey,
if I can do it, anybody can do it. Working
for years at it, and you got to, you know, there's several, and I'm sure you'll, you know, your blind leaps of faith, and you're like, oh my God, what am I doing? And you know, with the wife, oh my God, what are you doing? And but yeah, man, you go out, put in the time, put in the work, and barbecue can take you wherever you want it to go.
Well, that's why they call it barbecue family, right? You always wind up with somebody, and it's always willing somebody to give you a hand or help you out, and that's what real barbecue is all about.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, for sure. Well, I hope y'all enjoyed today's conversation on Shootin The Que, because I know, Brad, this is going to be a good show getting out there. You can join us next week. We'll see y'all for another episode of Shootin The Que.
If you have any comments or suggestions for future episodes, please feel free to reach out to us on our social media channels. Leave us a review if you've enjoyed the show. And until next time, keep shooting the Que.